John in Las Vegas writes, Paul, I recently took advantage of your Black Friday sale and purchased the Power Plant 3 AC regenerator. I hooked it up the way you explained in the video that you made. Nice. While I was waiting for it to arrive, I came across Audio Science Review going over one of the power plants, I think it was the 12, and was saying how his measurement showed the power plant was doing pretty much nothing as far as cleaning the electricity or the equipment was receiving from the wall. Well, I have to admit that biased my mind a lot against the P3. So after hooking up all the source components to the P3, a Freya Plus preamp, Bitfrost DAC, WIM Ultra Music Streamer, and finally the Apple TV video streamer, I sat back to listen to one of your playlists on Qobuz through the WIM, which is a network streamer. One song came and went and another, etc., when I realized I wasn't listening to my system anymore, but instead I was listening to the music. Okay. The sound was so pleasing with no listening fatigue, something I didn't experience prior to the Power Plant 3. So I reset my system without the PP3 in place and then got called away so the day's listening ended. Several days later, when I was able to listen again, I was noticing that my system was slightly harsh and fatiguing again, and I remembered the PP3 was disengaged. I put it back in, and the refinement of the sound returned. Plus, even the bass had more impact, even though the amps were connected straight to the wall all the time. So, comes the placebo part of my story. Can't the people like Amir from Audio Science Review also succumb to the placebo effect by not hearing differences because their instruments tell them not to? Whew, okay. Well, yes, of course, everybody is, we all buy into placebos and stuff, but let's back away from that for a minute, because I don't think that's what happened with Amir. I think Amir, who, look, I in many ways have a lot of respect for Amir. I think he has really elevated the whole thing about measuring and SYNAD and frankly taken a few of us to task when we should have been taken to task. So I'm fine with that. I think that's a good thing. What I don't like about Amir's approach, and he has quite a following, and it's okay. It's great. They're not big on subjective testing and listening. They look at the measurements, they pay a lot of attention to that, which is great, but it's just one side. Now, as far as his measurements of the Power Plant 12, yeah, he looked at it and he saw that as far as, from this frequency range to that frequency range, there wasn't much happening, if anything at all. But that's never what the power plants were intended to do. So I think he just kind of missed the boat on what their intention was and is, okay? So power plants are designed to do a couple of things. One, regulate the AC power, which you can measure all day long. They do a great job. So where a typical line might have 3-4% regulation, and this is the thing where if you turn a hairdryer on, the lights dim down, right? That's where your voltage is dropping. And a power amp, drawing a lot of power out of the wall, is going to modulate the AC to the music, depending on how much power it's drawing. Well, if you do it through a power plant, you won't see that modulation because it's fully regulated. And that's the main purpose of a power plant AC regenerator. The other thing it does in regulating is it lowers rather dramatically the AC output impedance. So the impedance feeding the circuit is extremely low. Again, easy to measure if you're looking for it. The last thing it does is it reconstructs the sine wave. Now, you can jump up and down all you want. I think it has a major impact on sound quality to make sure that we're not flat topping the sine wave, because at the point where the sine wave crests up and peaks is where most of the charging is happening on a power supply. It's right at that, as the capacitors, they're already full, except they went down a little bit, so as the sine wave goes up, it refills those and we get this nice, beautiful sine wave. So that's what the power plant does. It doesn't eliminate high frequency noises and RF and all that. That's a job for something else. And so I think what had happened is he didn't actually realize what the purpose of the AC regenerator is. If he had and had measured that, he would have confirmed everything that we've ever said. And those are the things that matter sonically. And we can debate all day long about it, but it's not a placebo. You heard it. It's easy to do an A/B demonstration on a decent system. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Thanks. I appreciate it. Take it easy. Bye.